Hey guys, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back, y'all. My name is Danielle, and this is my spiritual journey. Okay, so y'all, today I want to talk to y'all about witches and witchcraft and all that stuff. So when you hear the word witch or witchcraft, like what comes to mind? Okay, also, I do want to say this, like I was going to look up the definition of witch. Y'all, this is not funny. I was gonna look up the definition of witch and bring it to y'all and read it to y'all, but OMG. So like way back when, like this is like Instagram times, when Instagram was like a thing and like before TikTok was a thing, right? And so way back when I would follow people on Instagram and they were witches and they would like do their thing and talk and so forth and so on. And that is also the time of when I went to go look up the definition of a witch because people would be like, "Hey girl, you a witch. Like the stuff you do, you a witch." And so I wanted to look it up to see like what is a witch. And essentially, back in those times, like, oh my goodness, y'all, this is so sad. But back in those times, like, a witch was someone that would be like a free thinker, like an independent woman. Meaning, when I say independent woman, I'm meaning someone who is like, this might be what everybody else does, but I feel like this is more natural, right? And so I'm going to do this. And this could be something like, and this is actually true. This could be something like an herbalist. An herbalist would be considered a witch, right? Because like, girl, what are you doing using herbs to heal yourself? And when you go and you look at some of the people that were killed for being um, blamed for being witches, like they were midwives, herbalists, things like that. Like it's just like it's crazy, right? And so I look at it as someone who is a free thinker. And they just go with more natural things, right? It's just something that's natural to them. Ooh, let me say it like this. To me, a witch is when you fully embrace yourself, right? Like all of who you are. So for me, that looks like I am a woman. I am a part of this universe. I take in all the natural things as possible. I look at them, I see how they affect me, which is what I tell you to. When we're talking about the moon phases, for example, how does the full moon affect you? How does the new moon affect you? Those things have energy. Everything around us has energy. Everything around us has a way that it can benefit us, whether it's a way that you do want to be benefited or not. You take it and do what you want. And so it's also like herbs. Like I am one of the people who do not take the over-the-counter medicines or the doctor prescribed medicines and drugs and things like that. Like I'm going to go reach for some herbs and so or just drink water, But like those types of things, like I am that kind of person. And so when people say they may hear some of the things that I do, and it's just like, oh, you're a witch, it is because, and I'll get into that later. But let's talk a little bit more about what witches are and how they're being depicted, right? So witches, when I looked it up today, because I was trying to bring out like fresh content, like today, February, what is today? February 10th, Monday, February 10th. Yeah, so I was trying to bring out like fresh content. And I started looking at the internet and I was like, oh, hell no, I cannot. So, like today's information from what I saw, it was basically like a witch is someone, it's usually a woman who uses, I think it was like malignant supernatural powers. It was also saying that like they do deals with the devil and or Satan. Yeah, I don't even believe in the devil and or Satan, right? And so it was saying like in just about all the definitions that I was seeing, it was like, there's something evil that this woman is doing. And it's just like, wait, what? Wait, what? And this is the thing, like the same way that y'all have heard me talk about Christians, like there are people who can be in a religion and they can be a Christian and they can hate on someone and someone else can just completely love on someone. You can take someone who has a knife, right? I have to watch my words, but you can have someone who has a knife. Like you can legit take someone who has a knife and they are using their knife to cut apples. Um, so that the apples are in bite-sized pieces or whatever the case is. And, someone can take that out of context and be like, oh my goodness, this person has a knife. They are dangerous. But while I could be dangerous with a knife in my hand, I'm actually cutting apples. Like, leave me alone. Let me cut my apples. And so you see how people can take things and take it out of context, right? And so it's the same thing if you're an herbalist. Like, you can take herbs and you can take it out of context, and it can be used in a way that is not necessarily benefiting the person who is taking the herbs or that you are giving the herbs to. All the different things. So, y'all, I kid you not. And then it went on like it started going in and it was just like, these are the reasons that, the Bible rejects witchcraft and sorcery and all the things and divination. I was just like, oh, like, y'all, they are putting fear and trembling in people who are trying to look up the word witch and witchcraft. And so I can see why some people be trying to, stay away from me. Like, girl, you going straight to hell. But I don't believe in hell. And so it's just weird the definitions that are out there. Um, Old school, y'all, I hope I don't get people in trouble. But old school definitions and things, I did go to Pinterest because that's another app that I use. Again, this is back in the day. I'm not really on Pinterest that much nowadays. But Pinterest, I put in which definition. So I put that in for my search bar and I pulled up some things. One of the ones that I really like, it's by Spells 8. And it says to be a witch is to know the power of your own magic. And to me, remember, I always tell you that I feel like we are all magical, we are all powerful. You just have to learn to tap into your own abilities and do your thing, right? And so um, that again is one of the things that I do. I would probably be known as someone that's like an eclectic witch or somebody, someone who picks up pieces and parts from here or there and does it that way. I'm not going to stay in this one lane. I'm going to be all over the place. I'm also an air sign. I'm going to be all over the place. So, um, examples of what I do and I've told y'all some of the things I do, but again, I don't use titles, so it's probably hard for you to keep up. But some of the things that I do, and you may notice that you do it too, that would qualify you as a witch would be like, so if I'm making tea, like I love to be there for the entire process of making tea. Like I don't want to just plug in a pot or do the water and go mind my business. Like I'm standing there the entire time. From the time I'm getting the water, like I can charge the water to do something specific for me, right? And so I'm charging the water, excuse me, put the water in the pot, turn on the fire, the stove, whatever you want to call it, your heating element, and let the thing do its thing, right? And as it's doing its thing, I can still speak over the water because now the water has gone from cold water to now hot water and things like that. And so I'm just there and I'm being very mindful of what's going on. And then, depending on my mood, I'm going to start adding different things to the tea. So, like, I don't tend to make big batches of tea that's going to last for days. I make tea that's going to last me for that day. So for that day, and usually that moment right there, like I might make like 64 ounces because I'm not a big water drinker. So let's say that I'm making 64 ounces of tea in that moment, that 64 ounces is going to be gone that same day. And I could be like, oh man, like I am feeling like attractive, abundant, like that kind of energy. I'm going to start putting cinnamon in my tea, right? Or let's just say that maybe I'm not feeling good, or maybe I'm feeling like there's some digestion or inflammation or something. I might be like, okay, let me throw some ginger in here. Or, let me do some other things, and just however I'm feeling, I'll throw in the spices based on how I'm feeling. I'm not really going to be one that's going to reach for tea bags. I'm going to be one that's going to reach for herbs and throw that in the water and just watch it swim and float around and do what it do in the water, right? And then when it comes out, y'all, I am not the one, right? But when it comes out, yes, I know when you cool it down, you can add honey and that would just make it the bestest of bestest. But I don't like how honey makes my tea taste sometimes. And so I'll throw in just regular old sugar because I don't have I'm out of agave, right? And because I am temporary, I'm not trying to get agave because when I get agave, yeah, I get it from Wholesome. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. But I get it from Wholesome and I get about a box, right? I get them in the boxes. I don't get just one or two because I'm not trying to go shopping every 2 days. Anyway, so I just throw in some sugar to make it sweet to taste for me. I don't like that sugary stuff, but it's good for me. And so people may be like, okay, well, that's witchcraft. I will say this, when we just had, what holiday was that? Christmas. Christmas. I had made some cinnamon rolls, y'all. And so I let the people know, hey, y'all, I made the cinnamon rolls. Of course, I made them from scratch. And when I put the cinnamon in them, it was to legit magnify the um, quality of abundance in you. So if there's something that you're looking for, something that you're wanting to manifest, it is in the cinnamon rolls. Yeah, I'll put it in the cinnamon rolls. And so, I let people know before they eat the cinnamon rolls. Hey, this is what I put in here. I've done some stuff. I have some strong intentions in this food that you're about to eat. And so it's like, okay, cool. And so, I'm like, hey, if you have a business, if you want some clients, if you have where you're trying to attract a partner, whatever the case is, this is for you, and so I put it in food as well. And so, that is something where people can be like, oh my goodness, like she's doing that witchcraft stuff on me and things like that. But people who know me for the most part, um, I'm doing some stuff, right? I'm doing some stuff, and that's what that is. Let me see if I have another witch definition for you. Um, this one, it just says at witchy underscore quotes is who did this. It's a definition of witch. And it's just a definition. It's not the definition. And it says a woman who lives in rhythm with nature's cycles, uses her intuition to make decisions, and taps into the magic of the universe to make good things happen. So listen to that definition. I'll read it again, but listen to that definition and look at someone who is an herbalist. Look at someone who is a midwife. Look at someone who is making her way, minding her business, but she may be making her way, doing things to, establish her own business. Maybe she is an entrepreneur. Look at someone who is, yeah, we can even go and I'll tell you in a minute, but let me read this again. Which now, a woman who lives in rhythm with nature's cycles, uses her intuition to make decisions, and taps into the magic of the universe to make good things happen. And this is again by at witchy underscore quotes. Doesn't say what platform that is, but that is on Pinterest. So, take that and remember how I was telling you how you can have um, someone who has a knife to cut apples. The same person who has a knife to cut apples can use that knife for something completely different, right? And I think that's where a lot of people do is, they see someone making progress and doing the things, but then it's easy to flip the script and be like, oh man, she's doing this to do something that's not good. It's not benefiting people. But again, mind your business. So now let's go to who is this? That lady, Snow White. Y'all, I don't really know my Disney stories, but Snow White, Cinderella, like all them people, the witches that are in there, right? Like they have, um, where they got the brew, they stir in the pot, right? And somebody did an apple to make old girl sick, and I don't remember what the other person did, but like they do the things. What are they doing? They're using nature, right? They are putting in the different herbs. So let's go and address that. Newt, Eye of Newt, and all those things. If you're an herbalist, they are using body parts. I don't know why, but they're going to be using body parts. Look at a flower. A flower can be like a yellow flower. Let's say that you have a yellow flower, but those little purple dot thingies, let's say that it's those, and those look like eyes against the background of a yellow flower, right? And so it could be like eye of whatever the flower is. And so, it just is. It's It's not pieces and body parts. Cattails, like most of y'all know, especially old school people, you know what a cattail is. Like it's not a cat's tail. It's a cattail. It grows, right? So, and so you look at how someone's putting things in a pot and doing the things. Now, old girl, the witch, old girl in the story, the Disney story, like she's probably thinking, okay, well, I want to um have this person cease to exist so that I can be the fairest of them all, whatever the case is. And for her, it's good because she gets to be the fairest of them all. And who cares if there's casualties along the way? Like, oops, my bad. And so that is not how I practice. But do you see what I'm saying? Like that person at the core, they're using their intention, they're using energy, and they're using the things that are around them, right? The natural things that are around them. I hope that makes sense. Let me go a little bit further. I am going to tell you a little bit about a couple of witches, just because some of you may not know anything about witches at all. And so I did mention a little bit about like a kitchen witch, right? So a kitchen witch is going to be somebody who does their thing in the kitchen, right? And their, let's say magic, their magic is going to show in their food, in their drinks. And so they may use specific herbs for protection or whatever that they're going to put in their food. It can also be, like I had mentioned earlier, certain herbs that can help you for healing, whatever it is that you're trying to do. And what I want to tell y'all again, y'all, I have said this before. Be careful. Don't be eating everybody's food, right? Because you don't know who is doing what. Like a lot of us do certain practices, but we don't necessarily come out and say what our practices are, right? Read between the lines, y'all. Read between the lines. And so we're not saying what our specific practices are. So now let's say that you go visit Billy Jane Bob Sue, right? And Billy Bob Jane Sue is in the kitchen cooking something. Now, when you stir clockwise, you are putting your intention, your whatever intention is. Let's say you're doing love, right? You're putting love in, right? So let's say that I'm doing the batter or whatever for something, a cake, and I'm putting cinnamon in, and the cinnamon is going to be for abundance. I'm going to stir clockwise, right? Clockwise, for those of you who may not understand, if you see a clock in front of you, and this is going to be an analog clock. The old school clock, the clock with the hands, the numbers, and all the things 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, right? And so it's going to be those things. And then the hands go a certain way, they go in order from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6, 7, 8, 9. That is called clockwise. Counterclockwise is going the opposite way, not the way of a clock, but the opposite way. Okay. Now that we have that down. So when you are sitting there and you're stirring food in and you're going clockwise, you are putting that intention in, right? But let's say that you're wanting to remove something, you would stir counterclockwise. But let's get back to what I was talking about. So let's say that you're at somebody's house, right? Most people are not going to stir anything counterclockwise. So stop looking at people to see if they're doing stuff counterclockwise. But what they could be doing is, let's say that they are cooking for you and they can't stand your ASS, right? And if they can't stand you, what are they thinking about as they are cooking? They're probably thinking about how they can't stand your ASS. And they're probably thinking all kinds of negative ish, right? And that is literally going into your food. Like they are stirring that energy all up and through your food. And you are just like, oh my goodness, thank you, Billy Bob Jane Sue. And then you start eating and drinking, and it's just like you are consuming that energy that they have thoroughly mixed into your food, right? And so you have to be very careful, very mindful about how people cook, how people do any and everything, right? I am somebody who does low and slow. When I am doing my cooking, I am not using the burner or anything up on high, nothing, nothing, nothing. It's just low and slow. Like when you fast and rush and all that stuff, I don't want that ish in me. Like, I like to take my time, be mindful, right? And so, yeah, it's just, I'm not trying to have no jitters or like, oh my goodness, what happened? Like, it's all of a sudden, I'm just feeling rushed and blah, blah, blah. It's because somebody trying to, cook your food on 9,000. Don't do that. Like, what's going on? Like, you could put love in my food. Put love in my food. I put love in yours. But yeah, I'm all over the place. So that was a green witch, right? And so if you ever had where you use certain herbs for certain things, um, then that's the quality of a kitchen witch. Another one is just somebody, let's just say that you don't use herbs at all, right? You just don't, you got the blandest food in the whole wide world, but you put love and time and attention and mindfulness into your food because that is something that you're passionate about. Child, use some seasoning. But that's something that you're passionate about. Like that is still you putting that love, care, and attention into it, right? Like even if you making an apple pie, right? And you doing the lattice, the top part of the crust, and you're just taking your time and putting that love and attention and everything into it. Like that's you just doing your thing, right? That's you being passionate and loving. And it's just like, yeah, okay, yeah. So let's move on to there's another witch that I wanted to um mention. So that one again was a kitchen witch. The next one was going to be like a green witch. And I was trying to think of some things that people might be like, oh yeah, I really relate to that. So this is going to be somebody who is definitely into like your plants, into nature, right? You may have a garden, and again, the garden, y'all know, is going to be growing herbs, but it could be somebody who's just completely mindful about their garden, and they're like, okay, so I want to do, I love basil. I want to do a lot of basil. I love mint. I want to do a lot of mint. And they may not know much more about the qualities of those herbs, but they may use it just for the sake of, I love these herbs. A lot of times we may have something in us that we love and we are drawn to, we are attracted to certain things, but we may not know why, right? We may not have done the homework to understand why, but just to know that you are deeply connected to nature, plants, your garden, just walking on trails. Another thing about nature is maybe you are digging the moon phases. Maybe you don't know anything about the moon phases, but something about the full moon may actually just draw you in. It may just pull you in. Or maybe you were someone who was completely amazed by the fact that there is zero illumination for a new moon phase, and you're just drawn in for that. Like those are still qualities that could qualify you as a witch because you are, not someone who was staying in the matrix and doing all these things, but you may love those things and you're taking your time to be in that energy, right? And so, um, excuse me, let's go back to a little bit more definition. So for me, when you look at witchcraft, witches, anything like that, to me, it is someone who is using their intention. Like, remember when I was talking about using the water, I'll usually charge my water. I'm usually going to, if I'm having cinnamon tea, yes, y'all, cinnamon tea. I may have cinnamon tea and um, have that be something that's going to um, be something that those different qualities allow that to be in me, charge those energies of cinnamon in me, right? Um, and it could be the symbolic, it could be the actual um, qu- um, qualities of cinnamon. Yeah, sorry, I got distracted. Um, energy. So we're going to be using our intention, our energy, and then there's usually an action, right? And so if you look at, like, say, a midwife is just like, okay, so this is a body, a woman's natural body, a woman's body. She is about to give birth. Let's go with the natural flow of things, right? And let's take her breathing and use natural things to keep her calm, to keep her relaxed and all the things to be able to birth the child in the most healthy and natural way possible, right? And so all those things, you don't have to, again, you do not have to bring in manifesting abundance, protection, and things like that. But when you are looking at midwifery, when you are looking at herbalism, when you're looking at most people, it is some form of protection that we are doing, whether we are protecting the nature around us, whether we are protecting the sacredness that we feel towards, or honoring the way that we feel towards, let's say, a new moon or the energy of the moon. Doesn't matter what phase. It could just be the energy of the moon. It could just be that time where it just tells you to stop and pay attention. Stop and be mindful. Stop and be grateful. Like all those things, there are so many different things that we do on a very regular basis that will qualify us as being a witch. Um, and so there's other things that people do that they may have as a ritual that help them to ground. Like y'all, that can definitely qualify you as a witch. Like, what are you talking about? What are you doing? And the thing is that for um it to be like no sorcery allowed, no what else did I see in the Bible? It said no sorcery, no whatever, divination, things like that. But if you look at if you look at praying, okay, so when you look at praying, and this is in the context of church, it is supposed to be you stopping, taking time to talk to God, and praying is supposed to be a two-way communication. So it's also supposed to be about you hearing from God in return, right? So if I'm correct, you should be setting an intention, right? You shouldn't just be, excuse me, you shouldn't just be like plopping down and be like blah 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 and not having an intention, right? Your intention should be to be heard and to hear, right? It should be that two-way communication, right? That should be your intention when you pray. So that's your intention. Your energy is you literally, whether you are speaking out loud or speaking just inside, you're using your, talking inside, nonverbal, and you're just communicating that way. That's your energy. Sorry, y'all, some hair. Um, and then we have where we are doing something physical. And so something physical is for most people, they're going to close their eyes. Some people will bow their head. Some people will be on their knees. Other people will do the cross, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what it is, y'all. And so some people have something like that that also grounds it in. When you meditate, some people may light a candle to have their focus be on that candle to quiet or to calm the mind and the body down. So there's so many different things that people have out here that's just like y'all doing too much. Y'all doing too much with this whole, you know, um, witchcraft and witches and evil and using their magic and supernatural powers. Like, okay, so how does okay, let me get this right. So a witch is someone who has malignant supernatural powers. So like, does everybody have supernatural powers? Like by this definition, is everybody having supernatural powers? And it's just that people are using theirs in some kind of way that you don't like. Like I'm not understanding the definition of that. But yeah, it's out there, y'all. But I did want to talk about witchcraft, witches, and things like that. Yes, again, for the umpteenth time, there are a lot of things that I do. Y'all, I'm falling away. There's a lot of things that I do that definitely qualify me as being a witch. Do I go around telling people that I'm a witch? No, I don't. I go around telling people I'm an Aquarius. Okay. My birthday coming up, y'all. Um, but I don't go around being like, hey, I'm a witch. Because again, I am that person that pulls from this, and that, right? I am more of an alchemist. Like I'm all over the place, right? And so there's you ain't gonna put me in a box. Like you're not going to put me in a box. Even when I die, you're not putting me in a box, right? I know I'm silly. So that's all I have. If y'all have any questions or anything, because I can be all over the place and we know that, put in the comment section. Let me know. Comments, questions, concerns, feedback, y'all, comment section. If not, I will chat with y'all later. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. If you want to hear some more about different types of witches. I can make that a little bit shorter, but I can give you some different types of witches. Today I did like the green witch, which is all about plants and nature, and I did the kitchen witch, which, some of us, a lot of us love to be in the kitchen cooking and making up some stuff, right? I'm always experimenting in the kitchen, but I like to have my stuff make sense, whether it's like, ah man, like let me do some carrots because eye health, all the things. So just if you want to hear about the different types of witches, let me know and I can do, a couple at a time. And If not, then we can be done with this series. But yeah, for real, y'all, stop hating on witches and looking at witches with a side eye because based on the old school definitions, like this is years ago, like we all are a blankety blank witch, especially if you're watching this video. But if you go out, like seriously, go out and look at the content on the internet now. And again, today's February 10th, 2025. But look at the definition of a witch now, and I know we are being censored, y'all. I know we are being censored, and I know information is changing to create a different type of narrative. But y'all, I'm not buying that BS. Okay, I'll chat with y'all later. I'll talk to y'all later. Okay, bye, y'all. Do I want to say anything else? Happy Monday, and yeah, I'll see y'all later. Bye, y'all. Push stop already. Okay, bye.